Hi, Gay. Welcome to the Just Gaming Tingz Podcast.
Hi.
I was not expecting that today.
Oh my lord.
We're bringing you an all-career perspective on all the video games, gaming news, and nerdy stuff. All Saturdays, every single Saturday, and all of the Saturdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and then usually Sunday or Monday on YouTube. Time is a flat circle. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome, everyone. I'm kicking over my camera. I'm Spin Blend.
I am not kicking my camera. I'm Ruby.
I'm Kroger Jangles. My camera's over there, so I'm not about to reach.
I'm sashaying away from my camera. Dextralicious signing in.
Oh, God.
Oh, the chaos has begun. And we are into it. Listen.
We gotta have a little bit of fun in the clowning portion of the podcast, because like our main story this week is very sad.
Yeah.
So we can.
Yeah.
We gotta keep morale up.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, speaking of which, should we get into it?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. We'll brace ourselves for our main story.
Yeah.
Basically, okay. If you've been following gaming news at all this week, you know about the lawsuit that has come out against Activision Blizzard because of just years and years of sexual harassment towards women and discrimination against women. And there's like a whole lawsuit document. It's publicly available. I read it. I recommend, if you're gonna read it, definitely content warnings for like just horrific sexual harassment.
Mhm.
And like it discusses the suicide of an employee, so definitely like take care of yourself, preserve your own health. Don't I would recommend that, like, staying informed, like, but staying informed does not have to come at the cost of your own mental health. If something in this like lawsuit document is genuinely going to be harmful for you to read and experience, don't do it.
Mhm.
Basically, it's a lot. It's a lot to get into, but they described the environment at Activision Blizzard as like a frat boy culture. They talked about like various instances of sexual harassment, discrimination against women, like unequal like pay and promotions, um, and policies that made women's lives more difficult at Activision Blizzard. And it's a lot. It's a really heavy read. And I basically, like, my thoughts on all of this and like everybody's response to it is, I understand everybody being disgusted. I read this and I was disgusted, but I was not surprised. If you've been just anywhere near the gaming industry, or like have ever like spoken to a woman in your life, you know that like it's easy for this kind of thing to happen, because like I feel like a lot of men get like really defensive and want to do like I would never do something like that. Oh, I would
Not
never.
all
And it's
men.
not all men. And it's like this is what happens when you have only men in positions of power, and you have a group of men that are all like hyping each other up and like bringing out the worst instincts in each other, and they're allowed to act on those without fear of consequences. This is what happens when you have exclusively male leadership. Every single man is capable of being horrible to women, like including me. I'm not gonna like let myself off the hook, you know? I just I think like part of getting into a journey of like becoming a better ally to women, becoming a better like person is recognizing that like you might never do something like this, but like every man is capable of doing something like this. Like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that was kind of my thoughts on it. I saw like a lot of men on the timeline being like, women are safe around me, I would never, and it's like,
Mm,
it's
Because
not the
it's
time for you to make it about you.
yeah.
right. And the thing with that is like you can say that you would never do it, but where's your like activism in helping prevent that for others? You know, like
Exactly.
don't make it about you. Make it about like how you're gonna help people instead of just being like, oh, I would never do that, but like you're allowing it to happen or
Mhm.
like not paying attention to it happening.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
like
for sure. Because, like, you can have the best of intentions, and it's like even small things, like, not like when there's kind of like th- the expression of like locker room talk and you don't speak up, you're actively not participating, but you're in like complicit in it, right? um and people do it for multiple reasons. Like, it doesn't mean that you're a terrible person if you don't speak up, because sometimes people don't speak up out of fear, for their own careers, for their own well-being. Because unfortunately, a lot of these people that have a lot of power, they're not usually questioned or confronted because of those fears, because people, there was so many like stories, and a lot of the common threads are like, oh, but this is like a dream job of mine, or I'm working for a company that I've admired, and like all of these things. And it's like people don't want to risk it, because then it's like, are people even gonna believe me if I say something? Do I just leave and look unprofessional to the rest of the industry, and maybe no one else will hire me because they will just kind of be like, oh, they just left because, oh, they were too sensitive, or oh, they were too this or too that. Um, so yeah, and it's it's sad. It's like you said, like not surprising. Like I feel like any non-cis white male person hasn't had the best experience, no matter what the industry is, just in the workspace in general. The casual, like racism, transphobia, homophobia, so much that takes place, like even just comments, even if it's not like an active thing where people are like physically harassing or doing horrible things. There's the comments, like the locker room talk that I was kind of talking about. And like one of my huge pet peeves in this whole thing is that the expression frat boy culture is used a lot, and it's like, frat boys are like college kids, these are grown-ass adults. Let's not not to say that a lot of college kids are technically adults. Some of them are, so obviously hold them to the same standard. But what I'm trying to say is, like, even by referring to it as that, it kind of minimizes the severity of the situations, right? Because you're just like, oh, they're just frat boys, just it makes it seem like it's juvenile, it's playful, it's silly, it's unprofessional at most. But it's like, no, these people are crossing boundaries. um and oftentimes, of course, with anyone who's a non-men in the industry. So I that's kind of a thing. And I also don't like the idea that sometimes when these conversations happen, it's like people bring up the idea of like, oh, it's not just in the industry, it's not just this, it's not just that. And it's like, I get that. I get what the point is of what they're trying to say, but at the same time, it's like, if an issue is being highlighted about a specific industry, why do some people feel the need to try to make it a broad thing? Why do people try to make it seem like, like, no, let's address the issue in the industry? It's not. One thing that I will say that we could make a broader thing of is that this is not just an Activision Blizzard thing, right? This is just one example of a lot of shitty situations that happened under them. We don't know, and there's probably situations we will never know of that probably happened across the gaming industry as a whole. So yeah, and that's kind of a thing that I wanted to bring up. And just lastly, because I don't want to rant too much, for people who are not aware, because I know that there's some people who are like podcast listeners, or they're in the, they casually take a part of the gaming industry, but they don't really know like who develops what and who's responsible for what. And last week we had a conversation about how there were like inside conversations within like Ubisoft of like, oh, it's not profitable to fire people who are being shitty, so let's not make it profitable. So Activision is responsible for games such as Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Tony Hawk. Blizzard, which is under the same umbrella, is responsible for Overwatch, Warcraft, Hearthstone, for example. And they also own King, which is like a huge mobile developer, like with Candy Crush and other games. So what I'm trying to say is boycotting is an option. And after all of the articles came out, suddenly, like yesterday, they were like, oh, let's celebrate the Crash anniversary with a bundle. And so what I'm trying to say is speak with your wallet, because sometimes they will listen if they don't see the profit. So if you can boycott, which I don't know why you wouldn't be able to, because it's just like, don't spend money on them, then I would say be mindful of that. But yeah, what do y'all think?
With the anniversary thing, especially, like, I was just like scrolling through my feed and I saw that somebody like had the dates of the anniversaries of like the actual games, and it was like June 20th, June 30th, and September 16th. So like they're just caught. Like it's literally like in between those two anniversaries. So we know that they released that just to do that. And it's not the first time, nor will it unfortunately be the last, but I just, especially with like Blizzard Activision, they have been so commonly doing this for the most part from what I've seen. It's like probably because I mostly followed like what goes on with them for the most part, but it's just like because when they had the Free Hong Kong situation going on, they fired the esports player, and then 2 seconds later that BlizzCon they were like, oh, here's this like person of color that's going to be playable. But then like we haven't seen anything of that character since, because they're, one, Overwatch 2 exclusive, and two, we don't know anything about Overwatch 2. And then they had that whole other issue about their workplace thing, surprise surprise, and then 2 seconds later they announced Overwatch 2 with just a trailer, and then we never got anything else. So us rolling back to this and then like finding out that this came out, and then from what I hear, like Overwatch was like, oh, here's a new map that's coming. It's just, I can't stand that they have like an emergency thing for if things blow up, they're like, oh, let's diffuse. Like, all these companies are evil, but I just feel like this is particularly like diabolical, and like the way they're just trying to hide people that are like actually suffering behind stuff, because they know people are just going to hype their stuff up regardless. So it's hard to believe and like put your finger on like this thing can like actually happen, but it does.
I mean, oh boy. Unfortunately, it's this type of thing in the industry is like almost pretty much normal, and it shouldn't be. And unfortunately, a lot of people who do work in the industry who have to deal with these type of things are afraid to speak up because it puts their career at risk and everything else. And a lot of them, can't afford to do that. For me, because over the past week, we've talked about like how we can do better, and about not supporting them and things of that nature, and then it's like how they go about of course their regular old PR and how they say things and they release another game and things like that. And I definitely do agree with the notion that you have to speak with your wallet. Though I know better, gamers don't speak with their wallets, even when it negatively impacts them. A lot of people don't care about issues when it doesn't impact them. And this is kind of my fear about all this. I feel like unless something really big comes out of this, it's going to blow over again. And it's going to be back to where we were, and people are going to keep buying it. Because I definitely agree like about boycotting things like that, but like I don't know, like I know how people are. There's some people who don't care. They don't care about any of that. They're going to buy it anyway, and they're going to keep doing that because what's happening does not affect them. They may not, some of them are going to say it. I've seen it, but some of them aren't going to say that. They're going to do it anyway. And that's a large number. I mean, if it's Call of Duty, it's unfortunately going to sell, regardless. And then you also have, content creators. And that's another thing. Some are going to feel that, they don't want to play it anymore. Some of it is their main thing, whether it be Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and it's like, okay, do we switch to something else that could affect their income? And that's like a whole nother area to go into, because for some of them, it's not as big of a deal. And for some of them who focus off of one thing, depending on their situation, like with family, like could understand why they may keep doing so. But it's like at the same time, it's like, if you're, still buying everything, it still unfortunately continues to add into that. Now, if you're someone who already, has the product, I mean, do I have an issue with someone like still playing it on their own time? Not really. I mean, you already have it. You do whatever it is you please with it. But I would hope that, maybe just I don't know. Like I really do want things to change for the industry, because I do love the industry, but there are reasons to why I don't want to get too involved in the industry. I've known about these type of things for a while. I used to want to be a game developer. Some of these reasons are why I didn't bother. Like I feel like I would start hating it, to be completely honest. But I honestly don't know what more we can really do to change things. It has to be so many more people on the same page. And history has shown that us as humans are not, ever. And it just feels like it's always going to be like this battle that we'll have to fight regardless. And of course, we're going to keep fighting because there is progress made. I'm not going to act like it's the exact same. It's slow progress. But there has to be more people who understand that these type of things are not okay. These companies doing this isn't okay, because the companies, they're not going to change if they don't have to. Their job, their thing is to make money. That's why they do what it is they do. It is not to be, well, let's do the right thing here. Let's do what's good. No, they're not. They're going to do what makes money first. And if they have to step over people, they'll do it. They've done it. They will continue to do it if they can. I honestly, I don't know. I don't know what more we can really do except to keep trying to fight that. But it just really sucks when you really look at it in the scope of how many people don't care about it. And it almost makes it feel helpless. And I feel very sorry for the people who continue to have to deal with this. And they make, these great games and put their effort and time into it, and they're living their dreams. And for some of them, it's a nightmare. That's not how I want the industry that I love to be. But I really wish it was as easy to change as me saying what we can do, because unfortunately there's a lot that won't, and the companies will do whatever they can to stay afloat.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see it in the replies, right? Like, if you ever make the mistake of going into the replies of any of these, the journalists speaking out about this, any of the developers speaking out about this, of their own experiences, First of all, don't go to the replies. I definitely recommend not doing that. But if you do, it definitely proves Koga's point of like people not being on the same page at all. Like people defending them, people being like, "What about the other developers?" It's just so messy because I think people oftentimes think that when someone is criticizing a company that they're criticizing every single employee there, and I'm like, I don't know, that's not what I'm talking about. Like when we're saying like we're not, you know, the Activision Blizzard is doing a lot of messed up things, that they are being literally sued by the state of California. um it's not, they're not suing every single employee, and they're not saying that every single employee working there is a rotted person. That's not what's being said at all. So I'm not into the idea of people with the whataboutisms um, coming into the discussions about this of like, oh, but you know, but I still want to support the people that worked very hard on these games and they aren't terrible. And it's like, they already got paid. We talk about
They
this like
already got
literally
paid.
every time. Like they already got paid, and usually they don't get a bonus because those like the regulations and stuff for them to get bonuses are very unrealistic. It's like, oh, unless you get a 100% Metacritic score, we're not getting any bonuses and stuff like that. So that's another like silly thing as well. I think people like to make excuses to want to continue to play certain games, or to be like, oh, but I love this game, therefore I'm not a bad person, therefore I will justify it with something else, and it's not great to say the
No,
least.
it's just they want to keep playing it because their experience with the game is great enough to where they don't care enough what happens outside of that. Now, some of them they'll make like or random excuses to why, which I don't pay that any attention. Like I'm not like I like I get it. I'm not gonna act like I don't get it, but it's like don't bullshit me. We get it. Don't agree with you, but don't bullshit me. You want to play it regardless of how that happens. At least just fucking say it.
Right.
Because then at least then I just know to go another fucking direction instead of wasting my time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, needless to
Yeah.
say, over here on Just Gaming Tingz, we're not going to be covering any Activision Blizzard games. As far as like, you know, oh, the new expansion came out, or they have a thing coming. No, we may update you on the situation that we're talking about today, or in any upcoming developments. But as far as their reaction to it, which we haven't really discussed, I think one of the initial reactions was like an internal email saying that the claims were taken out of context and exaggerated and all of that. So, you know, their accountability is definitely not a word in that building, apparently. In the
Right.
higher ups offices, for sure.
I think my biggest issue with like deflections is always like like that was taken out of context. And I'm like, this stuff isn't good in context.
Yeah.
Like
Context would that ever be okay? Like,
right. Like
Right.
even if it's like if you're like saying like, oh, it's like out of context because like it was a joke, it's like if the other person doesn't consent to being like the butt of the joke or whatever, it's not okay.
jokes are
And
supposed
like
to be funny.
right. And this,
Like,
none of this
who's laughing?
was. Right. I think like my biggest like issue, well not issue, but like the one of the like most mind-boggling things in just that short article was like the bar crawl thing or whatever. And I was like, you know what? Like men really don't deserve rights. Like what the hell is this? It made zero sense to me. Like this going on in a workplace, like I could not believe it. I have no words with that.
Yeah, like it really goes to show you like what happens when like a group of like men gets together and there's just zero accountability. Like
Mhm.
that was just like so mind-boggling to me. It's just like in what world would that be okay?
Like, what
Like
context would be appropriate?
yeah,
Right.
like that just blew my mind.
Yeah.
And like being drunk is not an excuse.
No.
Literally,
Like
because for the most part, like even if you're drunk, like it from what we see, like it's something you were thinking. It's just that you're accomplishing it while you're drunk.
mhm.
Like don't think that because you're drunk it put like ill thoughts in your head because like I guarantee you were already thinking it.
And even if it is, then
Listen,
don't get drunk.
Right.
right.
Yeah,
There are plenty of
exactly.
people who get drunk all the time and manage to not sexually abuse and harass women.
Right. Can
Imagine.
you believe? Like,
Hmm.
wow. A concept.
Imagine. Like
Who would have thought?
Ugh.
I've been okay. I've been under the influences of some things.
Uh-huh.
We'll leave it at that. I have never once done anything like that while I've been under the influences of things. I've done some ridiculous stuff, but I haven't done anything like that. Like being under the influence of something is absolutely not an excuse, and I don't
Yeah.
understand. And and also like, why are you drunk at work? Like,
Or like at work related events.
Right. Drunk
why
at
are you
work,
drunk at work?
hungover at work. Just
Yeah.
It's just, mm, it's that was just like a really upsetting read, just all around.
mhm.
And it's just like it really speaks to like what a group of men can enable each other to do when they know that there's no consequences.
Right.
Yeah.
Is basically what it boils down to.
And unfortunately, it's been a thing for years, long
Yeah.
time. It's just that this one just got out there. But
Mhm.
I promise you, these other big corporations, especially some of them who are trying to like, be like, we stand with women. Some of y'all fuckers did it too.
Right.
Yeah, anytime I see like I've seen a lot of people like on the timeline being like, "Well, I'm canceling my WoW subscription. Time to play this other MMO, time to play this MMO, time to play this game, time to play that game." And it's like this is an industry-wide problem. Like just because
Right.
it's not coming out about other companies right now doesn't mean it's not happening.
Right.
And I feel like it would be the easy way out to be like, "Oh, it's just this one company is bad, and then I can give
Right.
give the money that I was giving to this company to this other company, and then everything will be fine." But it doesn't work like that.
Mhm.
Right.
And the main issue
Like,
too is because like people just don't fucking believe victims. Like they have to compile so many instances and proof just to even get it in a court case. Like they can't that doesn't even say that they're gonna win. It's just like they have
mhm,
to like have paragraphs and pages of events that happen. So like just because a company didn't like have this come out doesn't mean that there's not like a list in the process of trying to go through. And it's just that's even scarier to find out. Like there's just some that are just like unpublished or like unable to be published in all of these companies. And it's just extremely worrying.
Especially if they don't have an HR department. There's a lot of things that can happen that won't get documented.
Right.
mhm.
Yeah.
To
Or when
say
they
that
do have an
HR would
HR
do anything.
department and they
Right.
don't do anything.
Nope, because they know the person who's like higher up. They're like not saying nothing.
Mhm.
So
It's upsetting to say
Yeah.
the least.
But yeah, we did want to talk about this because I do think it would be um, inappropriate to not mention at all and to just pretend that everything is fine and that nothing was going on at all. even if these conversations can be hard to have or to listen to for a multitude of reasons, I do think it's important to have them. But yeah, we do want to talk about other stories because we do want to entertain you all, and we do want to, kind of not distract you necessarily, but we do want to bring you a little bit of escapism, I guess, in a way, because that's what podcasts can be good for, and that's what games are really good for as well. I know a lot of the times I use games as a way of escapism and as a way of entertaining myself and all of that. So yeah, let's move on to other stories that aren't as disgusting, shall we?
Slightly material.
Yeah, just from disgusting to just clownery, you know? So yeah, I mean, we have talked a lot about the timing of announcements and all that stuff before, and Sega recently basically confirmed that they announced the new Sonic game a bit prematurely, according to them. For people who don't know, during the Sonic 30th birthday live stream, they revealed like a half-minute trailer that was barely a trailer. And they basically
Like,
just
Sonic is there.
yeah, they're like it's basically like, hey, Sonic is happening, I guess.
Yeah, it was like
Um,
run through a forest logo. That was it.
right,
I
not
didn't
even
know
a
what it was.
logo. Yeah,
I thought it
Well, I
said
have the
Sonic.
symbol
Oh,
or whatever.
right. So yeah, they said that quote, while it was a bit premature, I wanted to at least take the occasion of the 30th anniversary to announce that a brand new title was in development. So it's supposed to come out in 2022, but they did say they announced it early, so I don't know if 2022 will be expected or realistic. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm very against this idea of like announcing things too early. I will say that I think there is a little bit of an exception that we can make because we are in a pandemic. So I do think that they may have planned for the game to be, further into development by the time the 30th anniversary hit so that they could have made a big announcement. So I will give them that. But I also do think that you can also just tell people that like a new game is coming and without hyping people up, and then people won't have the game for like 3 years or something like that. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of my thing. It's like being aware that we are in a pandemic and things get delayed and things aren't going to as planned for literally no one. But it also kind of sucks to be like excited about something and then to be told like, yeah, we may have told that too early and the game may not come out next year. Sorry about that. Yeah, what do y'all think?
This is just.
As somebody that was actively following Kingdom Hearts 3, I know what this is like.
Mm-hmm.
Because what was it? 2023, they announced Kingdom Hearts 3 coming soon. And I'm pretty sure we didn't get any information for a whole ass 2 years until 2015. And we got another trailer. And then we were like, oh, we wonder when the game's going to come out. And we didn't really get to even see much in it until I think 2018 was when we actually started getting full on information. And it came out in 2019, I believe. So it was like 6 years we kind of waited, 6 or 7 from announcement to the actual game coming out. And it's just take your time. Until you have stuff together, planned out, and ready to go, please don't announce your fucking games. Like, I know we are in a pandemic now, but I don't think you should still rush to like release something, you know. I don't think they needed to rush to like put it on the anniversary. I think they could have went without that because the anniversary isn't going anywhere. They could have just like did it next year. I know it's not a special number, but it can still be 31.
It was for me.
I do think it would have been valid to be like, hey, it's the anniversary, and, you know, because of the circumstances that we're going through, we don't have a game this year, but we're working hard, and maybe they could have shown, like, some art for it, or they could have shown just a little bit or whatever. But I think showing a trailer, I think for us, we kind of get it when it's like a 30-second trailer and it's only cinematic and sometimes not even a logo. We're like, okay, the game is still very early on, but the average person doesn't know that.
Right. They're gonna be like, what am I supposed to pull from this? And I'm like, well, apparently you're not supposed to pull anything from it. So here we
There will be
are.
running.
Right.
Sonic
Sonic
exists.
running through a forest.
Sonic running through the forest.
Symbol appears.
Green forest?
Screen goes black.
White jungle, maybe?
And this is clown behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I know that like if they hadn't released anything about a new game during the 30th anniversary, they would have gotten clowned for it. Like I totally get like feeling the pressure to announce something during the 30th anniversary, but like like to like put a date on it and then like delay, because like I feel like I say this every single time we talk about like a game being delayed. It's like just don't announce release dates. Like we understand
Yeah.
that things are gonna get delayed because of the pandemic. Like totally fine. Like absolutely. Like maybe like an estimate. Maybe like put a thing like Nintendo does at the front of the directs. Like everything's subject to change. Pandemic times.
Right.
But just announcing release dates for anything in this pandemic is clown behavior, in my opinion. And like just like putting this out there and then being like, just kidding, it probably won't come out for a while. Like, bye.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like
You made this
2022
fun
being the estimated
yourself.
day or like the estimated year, because it's like
Yeah,
the average
yeah.
development cycle I feel like is like 2 or 3 years. So the fact that they're like, oh, it's coming out next year, which at most would be like a year and a half if it comes out in holiday, and then they said they don't have enough stuff to actually make a trailer at the anniversary, which was like what, a month ago? Like something's not right. Like I don't, especially with the pandemic going on, like I don't think 2022 is a good estimate. I think 2023 would be the safest. Normalize companies overshooting when they're releasing a game. Like say like
Right.
2025, and they're like, "Oh, we finished it
And
early."
then surprise, it
2023,
comes out in 2023 and everybody
right?
just like shits their pants instantly. Like,
Right.
could you imagine? That would be so cool.
That would be so
This
iconic.
game's coming out 2 years early and we're just like,
Right.
God, that'd be so good.
oh, that would actually be iconic. Let's challenge the companies to do that. Can we have that?
Right. Overshoot your release dates challenge. Do that challenge.
Right.
I mean, I guess if it comes out 2023, I mean, I guess that's fine. I just want it to be good because Sonic Forces kind of was, it just exists. And I mean, I get it was that came out like about what 4 years ago. But
Oh
I mean,
God.
yeah, but I mean, it's saying it's coming out next year, and then it's just that it's so soon. And like was it like a month ago that
Mhm.
happened? And then so it's like, I mean, what happened in a month? That is like, okay, so this may not happen. Did y'all just say we
Right.
don't like this, we're scrapping it? I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad that at least something is coming. I wish we would have like been able to see more of what it is, but I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not as let down about it because I mean, I don't have much faith in them making a good 3D Sonic game at this point. But they haven't, to me, since Generations, which has been 10 years. Like Lost World was all over the place. Sonic Boom, well, that was a mess. I think was there another Sonic Boom? I think that was on 3DS. That was also kind of
Yes.
Yeah,
A
all those weren't
mess.
that great. So then we got Forces, and then that just felt, I don't know, like there was, I don't know how we went from Generations to like a working formula from Unleashed that people like, at least the day cycle. Then we went to Colors and people like that, and then we went to Generations, and then after that it's just 10 years of just whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's hard for me to be like as irritated about it because I'd have to like really, really care about it, and I haven't had a good 3D Sonic experience in 10 years. So
Yeah. It is kind of concerning that it seems like their kind of formula for a Sonic game is kind of like repeating itself, as far as like this is probably going to be rushed as well, like a lot of their games are. And I think like last time there was a thing, well, the first time there was like a big anniversary, they rushed it, and then Sonic '06 happened, and we all know what that was like. And then
crash.
right. And then the next big anniversary was Sonic Generations, which was really good. So it's like, are we just repeating the cycle of like, okay, this anniversary, trash. Next anniversary, iconic. Um, I would hope that's not the case. But I mean, if you don't have enough footage for a trailer, like, if we can see it from the outside, y'all can see it from the inside. And I'm sure there's so many wonderful devs in there being like, it's not ready. And they're like, we're going ahead. And they're like, please no.
Not ready.
Yeah, right. Like, I know for sure that's a thing. I know for sure that's a thing. Like, I don't know, but we can all assume that's a thing because devs know. And usually it's like a producer management thing where they're like, you can make that date, right? And they're like, I don't think so. And they're like, sure, I'll take that as a yes. Just don't see your family on the weekends. That will do it.
Because like literally every time a game comes out and like it's a flop, we hear stuff like from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's like the dev said like months ago that this was not ready, and they had to release it anyway. Like literally every
Right.
single time like a game comes out and it's horrible, we hear things like the producers were warned ahead of time that it was not going to be ready by this date, and they pushed them to release it then anyway.
Right.
So I know that if this game does not get like severely delayed, we'll hear stuff about that
Mm-hmm.
at some point.
Yeah.
Delay it. Please make it good. Don't put Classic
Please.
Sonic in there again.
Mhm.
We don't need another
Oh.
flop.
Yeah. Speaking of Clownery and flop eras, Dex, you want to get into your story for the week?
Absolutely. It's like the shortest fucking thing, but it spoke volumes to me, and I just wanted to scream. So Nintendo Japan announced that they were going to be cutting off credit card support for 3DS and Wii U shops. And I'm scared that that means that it's going to be in general soon, which is not good because not a lot of games from the 3DS and Wii U era are available anywhere else. So we're nervous that we're just gonna just lose the access of like all these games. And it's like highly worrying because like I know obviously Sony has done this before. Like they like tried to turn off the PS3 and the PSP shop. But as far as I know, like they still had a decent amount of games from like PS Now and such. So like I feel like it would have been fine if like those went down, not if they were fine to go down, but like if as long as like they had some backup, but like hopefully they would add more. But like with Nintendo, like there's nothing. Like there's no way to play Wii U games on the Switch unless they remaster them. And they've only remastered like 3 or 4. And then it's like in 3DS, like only 3DS games are on the 3DS and like nowhere else. So unless you know, do the E word, most of these games are not accessible. So I don't know what they're gonna do, but if they turn this off, I feel like hell is gonna break loose. But how do y'all feel about this announcement?
I read this and I was quaking because like it's not just like 3DS games. There are a lot of like on the 3DS store, like all of the original like Game Boy Color Pokemon games are on there and like they're not available on Switch. And I was just like, and you can't play those original Game Boy Color games anymore because like the internal batteries in the Game Boy Color cartridges died. So like it's been like you can play them but you can't save.
No, I just
So
remembered all my old Pokemon are now gone.
Oh,
yeah, I'm so sorry to break it to you, but all of the Pokemon that you have on your Game Boy Color cartridges are gone. I'm so
That's
sorry.
spotted.
To be the bearer of bad news.
Are all
no.
cartridges like that, or was that only specifically Game Boy Colors?
I think it's just Game Boy Color. Game Boy Advance, have played on Game Boy Advance cartridges on my Game Boy Advance, and they do still save. But any of the I actually tried it because I still have my Game Boy Color and my Game Boy Color cartridges.
Mhm.
So I actually did boot up all of my Game Boy Color cartridges, and all of the saves are wiped, and they can't save anymore because of
Oh.
the internal batteries. So I did actually buy like Pokemon Yellow on the 3DS eShop, and like it's not available on Switch. Like there would be no other way for me to play it and be able to save other than to get it on the 3DS store. So it seems like absolutely wild to me to shut off like support for the 3DS store because there's so many things. Like I know they're not making 3DSs anymore, but there are so many games, and that's just like one example. So many games that are on the 3DS store that are not on the Switch eShop. And I don't know if they have any plans of like porting them over to the Switch eShop. And it's
Right.
like we would lose access to so many games.
The biggest thing I don't understand from Nintendo is that each system has like random quote unquote like backwards compatibility with like other games that they have in the eShop or like are playable because like with the 3DS you can do, like the Game Boy games, but then the Wii U had like a place where you can play like GameCube games. But then the Switch has SNES. But it's like, why can't we just get all that on the same system? Like, why does it have
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
separate
It's
on each
Nintendo
system? And
behind
then
it.
y'all are already going to stop supporting them. So it's just, I don't get it.
So they can
Yeah.
sell you the new upgraded version in HD so you can buy it again. This
I don't
time
even know if
now
they're
in
gonna
60
upgrade
frames per second. We did a little bit with the filtering. And
Pokemon
we even
Yellow in 60 frames per second.
Shut
Mm,
up.
Oh
No.
god.
that'd be great.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's almost as if Nintendo doesn't have an online service in which they bring older games and they emulate them for as long as you pay for their online service. It's not like they have a system like that where they could catalog games from all of their previous consoles and run them on the Switch. Oh, wait, they do, and they don't use it at all.
They use it just for SNES games. And then they're like, fuck everything else.
Well, they are adding 3 upcoming Super Nintendo games, but no one knows what they are.
Right. Yeah,
You know, we
that's.
know what well, we rephrase that. We know what they are, but it's like
Do
I
we
don't remember
care?
this game. Like, what was this?
Yeah, yeah.
Where's my Super Castlevania 4? I mean, I have that on like the kind of Castlevania collection. That might be why. But you get what I'm saying. They just add games that people don't really know instead of games that people want. I
Mhm.
don't get why they do that. And I don't understand like why when it comes to backwards compatibility, they're so bad. This is why, like on the Switch, I am very wary about buying like games, like indie games. Because there's some games I would like to play on the go. But then it's like, I only want to buy them once. So it's Switch or PC. But if I get it on PC, I'm not gonna have this issue. But when the next Nintendo console come out, it may just be stuck on my Switch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they don't just bring them over. I mean, people been wanting backwards compatibility. I mean, yeah, they had it on the Wii U. It had well, for GameCube, you had to like mod it or something. They didn't have it there like originally. It's doable, but they didn't like activate it or something for some reason.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's one of those times where Nintendo is just really behind the times.
I mean, did they not
Uh,
see how well their like virtual consoles did and like how people were excited about stuff like that when like they released the original like Game Boy Pokemon titles and stuff like that? It's like people will buy them again.
Yeah, and they saw that,
Man,
but they could have
people.
saw it the bad way. Because you gotta look at it what actually happened. This is why I kind of hate it. They had the Wii Virtual Console, then the 3DS, then the Wii U. And if you bought it on one, it didn't go to the next one. I can't tell you. Well, I bought at least Super Mario Brothers at least 2-3 times.
Ooh.
So they probably just gonna release it on like the Switch
I
if they do,
guess,
and then be
yeah.
like, you gotta buy them all again. And that's what that's gonna be like. Yeah, we
Yeah.
learned from people's love for the virtual consoles. We
That's
learned
so
that you will
true.
buy it again. Am I putting that in the air?
No, you're
Yeah.
not. You're not putting. I feel like Nintendo fans have done it to themselves by buying it over and over again. They're like, oh, we see the pattern. They're buying the games again. So
If they do release digital versions of all the Game Boy Color Pokemon games for the Switch, I will buy them again.
Mm,
I will. I'm
mm.
people.
Mhm.
This is why at times I perfectly prefer other methods
Exactly.
because you
Mhm.
make it a pain in the ass when people want to like actually give you money.
Like, I'm not gonna wait 50 years and fight for all my life to get 2 pixels running on my screen at like a couple more frames per second than they used to. Like, girl,
Right.
it shouldn't be this serious.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a sign of things to come, though. Bringing it back to the 3DS, it's definitely probably by next year they're gonna bring that over here in the West, and then eventually I think they're just gonna phase out 3DS support as a whole, and hopefully a lot of those games will make their way onto the Switch. That would be my hope. Because I mean, we just said it. People will buy them again, so you might as well just bring them over. I do think that with 3DS games, I think they kind of fucked themselves over a little bit because it's gonna be really hard to port some of them to the Switch. And we already saw what happened with the first, like with the original The World Ends With You, and how everyone was like, oh, this is not great on the Switch. So, because that was like a big Square Enix title from the DS era, so it's like, can they do it? They probably can with some of them, but it's gonna be hard to do it, especially if they don't see it as like if it's gonna be worth it.
I mean, it
Yeah.
varies depending on the game. I mean,
Mhm.
It
it
depends
just
on the
depends
dual
on
screen
the screen.
capabilities.
Because like you can do them on like some of the games like emulation, like no problem. It
Hmm.
just depends on like if it's like Pokemon, more than likely you're not gonna have to, since if memory serves me correctly, the only one I played from back then was Gen 4. You mostly just press buttons. Like you could use the
Yeah.
stylus, but you didn't need to. So if it's
Mhm.
something like that, you'll probably be fine. But if it's something that it like requires you to like draw something, Castlevania, you might run into an issue there unless they find a way to just redo that. And unfortunately, knowing Nintendo, they may not find that worth their time. Or in that case, it would be Konami, which we know how that is.
I don't know if people would necessarily be disgusted if some of those games made it to mobile though, because
Yeah.
touch screen. They could just do that for some games. I know some people will hate it, but I mean, I feel like I would rather have that than the games just disappear and be removed from the sands of time.
Yeah, I hope and pray for a day that they bring like Kid Icarus Uprising or something. I miss her.
It's a
And
situation.
Yeah.
Do
dang it, Nintendo.
do we want to get on to our last couple stories are like more like things we're excited about. We
Yeah,
wanna
it's
start
less clownery and
More
more
happiness.
happiness.
and
Yeah.
more fun things. All right. So season 5 of Fall Guys just came out. I have not had the chance to play it yet, but it looks so cute. I I love the idea of like this jungle theme because I feel like it like really lends itself to like an obstacle course. Like you think of like Indiana Jones stuff and like Legends of the Hidden Temple stuff, and like there's a lot of like jungle themed obstacle course things that are already like in popular culture, and it's just like, yeah, of course they would do that. So I'm super excited to play that. I definitely want to play it on here at some point with y'all. The what was that like room called?
Uh,
The
the
like
Lost
the
Temple,
Lost Temple.
their most ambitious round yet.
I am so excited to play that. I know I'm gonna be frustrated because like it changes every time and like you're not gonna be able to get good at it, but I'm so excited to play that.
I mean, a lot of their
Um,
levels have become not procedurally generated, but they've made it to a point where like if you play for like an hour, you're not going to get the exact same configuration. Like even if the layout of the level is the same, a lot of it will be like altered and slightly different and remixed, right? So
yeah.
I'm definitely excited for this. I think that they did a really good job after season 2 was kind of not the best. They did release like a survey and people were able to like fill it out with like theme suggestions and like stuff like that, and they were able to kind of gauge what people actually wanted for future seasons, and they've been hitting it out of the park every time. Like the latest season that they did that was like retro
I loved
synthwave
season
vibes
4.
was great. Now the new one, like the jungle theme, it's definitely like gonna be like exciting as well because, like you said, it's gonna be fun to do like obstacle courses and to kind of all the cuteness that can come as well from like animal themed costumes and stuff like that.
Yes.
I know they're also doing like Ratchet and Clank as like a theme, like a collaboration as well, which makes sense because an animal. Um, and yeah, it's exciting. It's definitely something that we will get into at some point, either on our own channels or over here. Um, I think it's gonna be fun to get into it and to get into the new season for sure. I haven't played it yet either, but I want to.
Yeah, definitely. What do y'all think? I know like y'all aren't as big into Fall Guys as we are, but do y'all have thoughts?
I don't play Fall Guys at all, so my thought is neat.
Not
Good
that
for
good.
y'all.
But yeah, like I haven't played Fall Guys in like forever, but it seemed really interesting. Like I do like this like Lost Temple. Like I think that's gonna be really cool. It seems like it'd be really fun. So hope y'all have fun. Can't relate.
Well,
Oh my god.
you
I
might be
would
able to
love.
relate with Fortnite.
Oh.
And how they are. I think we said it here on the show, and we had like a brief moment where I think I said something to the effect of like, wouldn't it be so funny and so iconic if Epic of all people, outside of June, announced a Pride thing? And we were like, yeah, but that would never happen. Cut to July 2021, and they said, hi, Rainbow Royale is
Hi,
here.
guys.
Hi,
Hi,
gay.
gay. Sashay away with these new skins and sprays.
I do think it's a really cool thing that they're making a stance and they're saying that everyone is welcome on the battle bus and that they're celebrating the LGBTQIA plus community. They added rainbow sprays, rainbow wraps for like weapons and outfits and stuff, as well as a take a bow, rainbow bow, take a bow, rainbow bow, emo. It's listen, they stretched. It was a stretch, it was a reach, and I tried to sell it, but I couldn't. But another cool thing that they did was they actually added to their like in-game radio. They added LGBTQIA plus artists. So they added Big Frida. They added Lil Nas X, King Princess, Troye Sivan, Ben Platt, Daya, Haley Kiyoko, and Kim Petras. So it's very exciting. The celebrations do end in July 27th. So, they're not celebrating us for
Hey.
too long. So, but they are celebrating us with free
Okay,
items.
so I have
Oh,
a question because I know that y'all girlies got some goodies. Are those only going to be for the people that got goodies from them, or are they going to be available for everybody at some point? Because
That
I'm
is
kind
a
of
great
scared.
question.
Because in the shop, it keeps giving us a timer like, oh, it's going to change in like 24 hours. And then you go to the 24 hours and it's like, oh, it's going to change in another 24 hours because it's the same items and they have not changed. And it's been like that for a week. And now that you've said it as like the 27th, I'm like, we don't have these
Yeah.
skins. We only have like these sprays and this one emote. Can we get a little more?
Right, yeah.
I'm kind of
They,
angry.
uh-huh. Yeah,
Oh, that's it.
they contacted Rainbow Arcade. It's a Twitch LGBTQIA plus Twitch team that I happen to be a part of. Our very own Lotus and Pants are also a part of it, and they did send us like codes for like I think they call it like a stylish set, which is like they just sent us like a bunch of like customizable characters where you can change like the color of their outfits, and one of the options is rainbow. So you can have like a rainbow jacket. You can customize the characters. They have characters of different ethnicities as well, which is really nice to be able to choose from. Um, so I don't know if they're gonna have that either as like a free pack or if that's gonna be a thing where they're gonna add the stylish pack into rotation at some point. Um, I would assume that if they happen to add it, even if it's like outside of Pride Month, that you would have the rainbow thing if you already redeemed it as like the rainbow customizable thing for the weapons and for like banners and characters and stuff. If you already redeemed that, I think you can just use that for the stylish pack. Um, but they didn't really inform us on whether or not that's going to be like purchasable or if it's going to be a thing. They were just like, hey, we're doing Rainbow Royale and y'all are Rainbow Arcade, so do you want some codes for free shit? And we're like, yeah. um so there's that. But yeah, it's I wish it wasn't like a super limited edition kind of thing, because it's like, hi gay, log in really quickly for like the next couple weeks or you're gonna miss out on the gay
Okay.
things. um yeah, it's very like, hi gay, bye gay. But I do think there is a part of me that is very into the idea of them pissing off all the homophobes by just posting that and being like, hi, we'll welcome everyone in our battle bus. And that includes the LGBTQIA plus community. And I just love that idea of pissing off the straights a little bit and being like, no, we're doing it. And they don't have to pay for the things either. It's a free celebration. I really like that. As like them taking a stance on something, it really makes me like happier to kind of see that.
I did really enjoy that, and I love that, like, this feels like a direct response to, like, the queer takeover of Fortnite that we've kinda seen happening over the past few months.
Right. Hmm.
Like, "Oh, we noticed a bunch of queer people playing our game, let's put something in there for them."
Yeah, right.
I I I really enjoy that, like, they're kind of seeing it and being like, "What if we did this?
Oh, the gays.
Oh, the gays are here?"
So we
Maybe
just want to
some
say,
other games should take note.
hi to the PR marketing team that watches Just Gaming Tingz, because we did give that idea to you for free. So hi.
Hey.
That we our impact, our impact.
Mhm.
No, it's really gaggy though that we were like, that would be so iconic if they did something for the gays in July, and they did. It's
They did.
like, oh, like, oh, are they listening?
Oh. Wow.
Well,
Us? Oh, wow.
changing the gaming industry one episode at a time. Don't mind if I do.
Now let's just get the gays to actually support companies that are willing to do this instead of, other games. That's all I'm
Uh-huh.
saying. If you know, you know.
Mm,
Well.
yeah. So I these ones have not gotten me into the Fortnite
We
yet.
sure haven't.
I don't know if they will, but I'm just like, I'm sitting over here on the sidelines and I'm just like, that's cool of them. And that's basically all my
Well.
That's basically the same here. I don't play Fortnite either.
But Pokemon Unite, y'all.
We stare. Speaking of Pokemon Unite, what are we playing? What have we been playing, Dax?
Oh, me, lol, me. So little story. I beat Need for Speed Underground 2 Sunday, like
Iconic.
immediately the day after. Just Gaming Tingz. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a lot of stuff in 14. And then Pokemon Unite dropped and ruined my life. So I haven't played 14 this week because of Pokemon Unite. So there's that. But how about you, Koka?
Well, of course, obviously Dokkan, so I'm not gonna go there. It's been slow this week. So I did get Pokemon Shield in the mail, was it last past Monday? So I've been playing that this past week.
Ooh.
It's okay so far. I spent most of my time in the wild area. Because I got like 9 hours in, and I only got 2 badges. I spent most of my time running around in there. All I'm gonna say so far is it feels like every few steps they've taken forward for me personally, they took just as many back. Like the wild area, I love it. I think it's fun just running around, seeing the Pokemon there, and being chased by a Delibird. Like, imagine you just running, and this bird with a bag of presents is chasing you. That's like one of the best things I've seen, and I loved it.
Delibird?
Yes, caught it. And I loved it. But then I come across some who are just apparently too strong, and I can beat them, but I can't catch them yet because my level isn't high enough. Why?
Oh yeah.
And that's what I mean. It's like you get up here and it's like, oh, okay. The raid parts are pretty cool until I learned that it's not a 100% catch. I almost spat out my drink. I caught like 5 in a row. And then the 6th one is like, it went back into the den. I'm like, that can happen?
Right.
Apparently, yes.
Yeah.
So I did also get the DLC. I've heard good things about it, so I'm very interested at least going into the wild area into that, which you could probably already guess. The most fun I'm having is catching Pokemon in the wild area, but the story aspect, not so much. I don't like my rival because he keeps stopping everywhere I go. He keeps healing my... Can people stop healing my Pokemon without my permission?
Don't touch my Pokemon.
I stop that. I can beat you fine. The game is a bit hand-holding. I heard it was. It holds hands pretty. It's really bad. Like a perfect example is it was when you go against Nessa. I can't remember the president Rose. Something about him is off to me. And then you have whatever his secretary, I guess, name is, and she's like, when you beat him, go here. You beat the gym, then she comes out and says, all right, go here. And I'm like, I don't need you to do that because it's not like when I go to the menu is also telling me where to go. I'm like, why are y'all stopping my experience to tell me something every time I take like a few feet? But right. I do like the gym battles a little bit. I like I guess how they have that set up and how you're like in the stadium. The gym battle music is actually pretty sick. I do like that. So there's things that I like and there's things that I'm kind of like, okay. But aside of that, I did play Pokemon Unite for the first time yesterday. I probably spent most of my time just trying to like go through the tutorial. The first time it had me do a matchmaking, I'm honestly not sure if that was part of the tutorial or that I actually playing against people because I won and I was like first place. So I'm like,
Iconic.
am I playing against actual people or did I win? I don't know. I want to play Lucario. Unfortunately, I have learned, again, I don't play MOBA, so please forgive me. You can't pick the same characters. So I have some friend in this group chat and three of us wants to play Lucario. And I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? Pick someone else? And the answer is yes. And I'm like, I can't believe it.
Can you imagine?
I have been on that Pokemon Unite train. I sure have. It's so funny to me that my story also started with 14. Cause they sent me an email. They're like, "Hi, gay. We have a free login event for like 15 days. And you qualify for it. So do you want to come back?" And I was like, "Sure, let me re-download it." I also got a new PC, so yay, I can play games on my PC and actually like stream them also. Great. But I was like, "Oh, 14, lovely." And then like Wednesday came around and Pokemon Unite came around and I was like, "Oh, wig, let me give it a try." So yeah, we haven't gone too much into it, but yeah, Pokemon Unite is essentially a Pokemon MOBA. I like to call it baby's first MOBA, the same way that the regular Pokemon titles are baby's first RPG. This is baby's first MOBA, so it doesn't have the most complicated gameplay features. It's fairly straightforward, especially if you follow the full tutorial. And it's, I will say, a lot of fun for me, because the one thing about MOBAs that I dislike a lot is that the matches take forever. So I used to play League of Legends, and I remember it would be like one episode of a podcast would be the equivalent of one match. And it would have those awkward moments of like, wait, do I have time to start a match before I have something else to do or whatever? But with Pokemon Unite, every match is capped at 10 minutes. So you basically just score. And that's how you take the points from the opponent. You just score as much as you can. And then they take the elements of like, building up your character the same way that you would for other MOBAs, but obviously Pokemon can evolve, so that's like a cool feature that they added, and Pokemon learn new moves as they level up in the regular games. So that actually does tie in with the Pokemon kind of lore, and it makes sense. So everything does make sense. There's like jungle areas where like you're supposed to like level up, gain like buffs for your characters, which are obviously wild Pokemon. So everything just kind of makes sense. The only thing that they kind of stray away from the lore is the type matching. Like in this game, if you play as like Alolan Ninetales, which is like an ice Pokemon, you can beat up like a fire Pokemon, a fire type. That's just a thing that can happen. So that's like the only thing that's kind of weird as you play Pokemon Unite. You're like, we are not doing type matchups today. But other than that, it's just super fun. We haven't really gotten into everyone's main, so who do you main, Dex?
I'd say it's too early for me to choose a main because I never try anybody, but I've mainly been bouncing between, depending on what the team needs, either Talonflame or Slowpoke, but then like Zerawa in quick battles.
Ooh, what about you, Koga? Who have you been playing as?
Of course, mostly Charizard. Like I said, I do want to try Lucario, but I'm gonna have to buy them or something, or just wait forever to have enough coins to.
Yeah.
I'll throw in $8, but when I do that, can't nobody else pick them? Okay. So outside of that, just mostly just Charizard. I didn't have like a specific reason. I just picked one that I like. Like I said, I don't really understand MOBAs too much, so like I just go to the top lane or whatever and try not to die. I know a few things here and there, but I'm still learning that. But for right now, it's just probably going to be Charizard until I open my wallet in like an hour.
Not the wallet.
Not an hour.
1 hour.
I mean, it takes a while.
Yeah, it does. It does take you a while to get coins and to just get stuff in general, which is normal-ish for these types of games that are like free to play with like microtransactions. I will say, y'all, when given the option to get Pikachu or Charizard, I went with Snorlax. And I have zero regrets. Snorlax has been my main, like whenever I'm like, oh, let me play ranked, and like everyone has their best foot forward, I'm like, oh, I'll be Snorlax. Unless they already have a defender, I'll be like, okay, I'll be Snorlax. That's the girly I can handle, because he's more like tanky, so you don't have to concern yourself too much with dying, because you know, with MOBAs it's very easy for you to get greedy and start dying. So yeah, Snorlax is one of my main girlies. I did save up in-game coin to purchase Wigglytuff. So she's also one of my girlies. Slowbro is cute. I like Slowbro. I like Venusaur. And of course, my one of my new faves has been Alolan Ninetales. I do love her. She's iconic. I'm not the greatest at her, but I feel like I have kind of a wide range of different types of Pokemon. My only one that I'm missing is a Speedster, but I think I'm going to be saving for a Gengar for that, because iconic. We love Gengar in this house. But yeah. Other than that, I haven't really been up to too much. I did get sick last week, which is why I wasn't on the podcast. So yeah, I haven't been up to too much, but Pokemon Unite has been taking over a lot of my time for sure. What about you, Spain?
So far, I'm the only one that has not gotten sucked into Pokemon Unite. I'm really tempted though, but I'm just like, oh, I don't know if it's gonna be my thing.
It's almost as if
Give it a
it's
try.
if only it was a free game that you could just like uninstall if you didn't like.
Right.
No, but like, oh, I already got back into 14. So I've been doing 14 like all week. I'm finishing up like post Shadowbringers. I'm like getting all my Aether Currents for Shadowbringers now, and getting all ready for Endwalker and everything. And I'm just like, if I play Pokemon Unite, it's gonna consume all of my time. But I'm playing 14.
Me and Ruby told you can play it while you're in queue.
Right. It's like a 10-minute match. You can squeeze that into while you're waiting for like a queue. Or like a 5-minute match if you're doing a quick match. What's your excuse?
Right, but like,
you can also
really that long?
You can also, it depends.
Yeah, it depends.
If it's like a story thing, it might take a while, because if it's like not a popular thing, people might not go for it or whatever.
And I play DPS, so my queues are always ridiculous.
You can also play in bed when you get tired, because Switch.
Yeah, you're witnessing the live peer pressure as everybody convinces me to join Unite.
We can't get you in Fortnite, so we're gonna try to get you in Unite.
It might happen. It might happen. It might.
I mean, listen, it's a free download. If you hate it and you tell us that you hate it, we will accept it. Yeah.
But it's free and it's there.
But you're like, oh, I'm tempted, but I don't know. I'm like,
and nobody knows a lot of people don't know what they're doing, so it's like the perfect time.
Yeah,
Right.
It's like early game too. Like, there's a lot of baby players.
Yeah, and I'm tempted by outfits. Like, a lot of the outfits are really cute, and like,
for those too.
But like, okay, the game itself may not cost money, but it might cost me my time, and I have so much work to do, and also I'm playing 14. And
it's interesting how work just came up after
time
14.
is money.
Interesting.
Do you also want to tell us the amount of times you pulled one-nighters to play 14? Suddenly you had time for that.
No, I do not. I don't want to talk about it.
Interesting.
In my defense, it's been a very long time since I've pulled an all-nighter in 14.
That's true. But it was also day one of you coming back to 14.
You also stayed up till 6 a.m.
Stop.
Anyway, now that we've bullied Spin,
Where can we find you to bully you some more?
yeah,
Jesus.
where can our audience find you to also peer pressure you into playing Unite?
If you want to come yell at me, you can do it at twitch.tv/spinblend, or also on Twitter at spinblend, or also on TikTok at spinblend. You can yell at me at any of those places.
And also your brand new YouTube channel.
Also on my brand new YouTube channel at linblend, where I'm doing exclusively VTuber stuff. So I'm my drag queen VTuber linblend, and I play mystery games on there and also talk about true crime. And also, did you know that I make and sell soap? Spin Soap Cafe. Everything's on sale. Okay, now I hide from everybody trying to get me to play Unite.
Yeah, get your fan in the right
Unite.
order. Get your fan in the right order before you hide from us. You can find me. What about you, Ruby? You can find me at most platforms at Project Ruby. I also recently started doing weekly uploads on my YouTube channel, so I started off with a K-pop album unboxing. It's kind of like a two-part series because I got 2 albums, so I'm milking that for the content. So this week we had the BTS B album Essential Edition, which did not come with the randomized photo card. I cut it out of the video, but I was like, oh, it's kind of weird that the album is cut open on the side. I hope there's no repercussions for that. And it's like, oh yeah, the photo card is missing. But I also sneak peek at my next video. I also unboxed Shiny's Atlantis album. So stay tuned for that. Early on Ko-Fi at Project Ruby, and then public for everybody by Wednesday. So teehee. Yeah, other than that, you can just expect my streaming things at Project Ruby, on my Twitter, all of that fun stuff. TikTok, the Project Ruby, where I just post random shit at this point. But yeah, what about you, Koga?
You can find me on here on Twitch and Twitter at Kogas_Jangles. Did I say that right? I feel like I made a mistake.
You did say Kogas instead of Koga.
Right, find me here at Koga_Jangles. That's my name. You can find me on here on Twitch and Twitter. I might be playing Pokemon Unite on stream again. I did play it last night, which, like I say, it was pretty. I mean, I'll probably end up playing it again and see how I feel about it. But you can, of course, find me on there or on Twitter, where I honestly just retweet a bunch of shit at this point.
We know.
Yeah, had a conversation about things that have appeared on our feeds because of.
We may have seen something pop up on our feed that may or may not include the words breedable. And I deleted the other one from my brain, probably for a good reason. But
I hate that you remembered the worst one.
The what? Yeah.
Opinion.
I was like, what was the other one?
Submissive.
Submissive and breedable. That's the one. Yeah. But follow Koga, please. Follow all of us, including Dex.
Hi.
Dex, what are you doing?
You can find me also retweeting shit on Twitter, but usually just K-pop things or memes at Dex's of Us. Then you can find me possibly streaming once in like a new moon on Twitch at Dextralicious. And then you can find me on YouTube with random ass fucking videos at Dextralicious as well.
Iconic all around. And you can find us at Just Gaming Tingz with a Z at the end on all of the things. We are on Twitter. We are on Twitch. You may have to look us up on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, but we're there. So hit that follow button right now. On YouTube, it's a subscribe button. If it's free and it's a button that you can press, please do it. It helps us out a
the
lot.
buttons.
Press the buttons. Please do it.
Fishing on my butt, babe.
Oh my goodness.
And now that we're getting DMCA'd, we're on our way out. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. We love you so much. We will be joining you next week for another episode where we talk about all the gaming teens. So yeah, bye everybody.
Bye.
Hi.
Bye.